All right. Hey, everybody. It's another episode of our Leverage podcast series where we visit with business owners in the local Dallas-Fort Worth area and abroad. Today, we have an awesome guest, Mr. Justin Bennett. He's going to talk a little bit about his bookkeeping services, how he's kind of started his business, how he grown his business, and also just like how he's just survived and grown and become plentiful in his space. And we're going to dig deeper into a lot of those things with him today. We'll spend about 20, 30 minutes just kind of asking him some questions, getting to know him a little bit. So, Justin, welcome to the show. And I always like to open the question with, like, what is it that you do and how do you make money?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me, Mike. I appreciate it. So my name is Justin Bennett. I'm a bookkeeper. So let me kind of just explain a little bit what that means. Basically, I work with small businesses. I help them keep all of their finances straight so that when they go to file their taxes, there's no surprises or anything like that. We keep your books good all year long, so that way you always know what your financials look like and you can make good, important decisions for your business without having to worry about what's going to happen on the back end. So, so let me kind of just run down a little bit how I got involved in this. So I'm in the East Dallas area. I'm originally from California, though, so don't hate me. So I was born and raised in California. Moved my family out here in 2021, and so I grew up in a blue-collar family. My dad owned a roofing company, and I worked with him for many years. Pretty much my whole extended family worked with him. My uncles, my brother, cousins, right? And so we all kind of worked for my dad at some point. In early 2000s, he right soon after I graduated high school, he ended up selling the business and then relocating out to Idaho. And so I decided to go into finance and started looking into things like accounting and whatnot. And so my ultimate goal actually was to help my dad kind of, scale that business, but then he went off and sold it. So, right. But anyway, found myself in working, in the corporate world and as a forensic accountant, and did that for many years. And in 2025, kind of just tired of the corporate grind, and my kids always say I'm having a midlife crisis, I guess. And so, so I kept getting all these ads to start a bookkeeping company. And I'll be honest, I really did not know what bookkeeping really was. Despite working in accounting for a long time, I didn't really it was one of those like parallel fields that you just never really cross paths with. And we're so used to doing, investigations and deep dives into, finances. We never worked with a bookkeeper. So I wasn't really clear on what that was. And so the more I looked into it, though, the more I kind of thought it felt like a really good fit for me. The more I read about it, the more I learned about it, the more in love with it I fell. And so I decided, why not give it a shot? And so I started my own bookkeeping firm in October of 2025. And it's been growing exponentially ever since. I originally started this as a side gig just to make some extra money on the side. And it's quickly becoming a major stream of income for me, to the point to where I'm actually looking to go full-time here in the next year. So.
Wow, that's awesome. That's exciting. I love that aspect, especially when you can kind of, like you said, parallel it with something you're already doing, right? It's kind of a natural kind of fit in. You probably already have some presence in the general population, that industry, some things like that. So that's always exciting. I see a lot of people that jump off completely opposite of where their expertise and skills are. And by no means are they not successful, but it's really cool when you can kind of just niche off of the lane that you're kind of already down, right?
Of course, yeah, and that experience actually has been extremely beneficial for me in not just maintaining this business, but a lot of people in this space, they really want to know that you know what you're doing. And so, yeah.
Yeah, and especially because a lot of your books are then handed off, right, to financial planners or CPAs or whatever the case is. So you kind of can help ease and, grease the give them the right product, right, that a CPA would be looking for, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. A lot of connections with CPAs, CFOs, and, professionals, other professionals in the financial industry as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you help do P&Ls and any of that kind of stuff, or is that mostly kind of left towards, hey, I've got the books, I've got the accounting line items, and then I let them do the P&L from a CPA perspective or a CFO?
Yeah, so P&Ls are actually the main report that we generate. And
Cool.
so the P&L, balance sheet, statement of cash flow, those are generally the main reports, or accounts receivable, age summary, et cetera. Those are the main financial statements that we report. And I go a little above that too. So I typically, with my clients, I always offer to them to do a monthly review of their P&L and balance sheet. A quarterly review of their P&L and balance sheet. And so it's an added service that I think, I think some of my clients really enjoy that extra touch, kind of that extra help, and, seeing where they're at and seeing where they could be.
Right. That's awesome. All right. Well, let me kind of jump into kind of the next question is like, what's the biggest thing that you're focused on growing right now as you're in that stage of your business?
Yeah. So right now I'm actually, for the first 6 months of the business, it's been on growth, like trying to get as many clients as I could to sign up. And I'm actually at the point now where I need to actually start developing some systems and SOPs, because the work it's not overwhelming, but if I don't get this under control, it can very quickly become, because obviously the leads are still coming in. People still need help with their bookkeeping, and I'm not turning anyone away, and so I made that a point, like I will not turn anyone away. So, if you need help, I'll sit with you and I'll see what we can do. But yeah, so help getting some processes down, SOPs in line, and trying to really streamline the process so that I can help the most number of people as possible.
Yeah, I think that's really important as it comes into scaling and all that stuff, right? Everything kind of falls back to the systems, right? I think James Clear kind of says that is, you don't really rise to the level of your goals, right? You fall to the level of your systems and processes. And if you haven't read Atomic Habits or James Clear, it's really a poignant book to read. But with that being said, right, it's like too many people kind of forego the systems as they're growing their business because they're just trying to generate revenue, right? And a lot of those systems and SOPs are self-learned and in their brain, and yet they don't go backwards to document those processes, right? Or they don't get systems that can scale with their growth. And that's kind of why we talk a little bit on the Leverage podcast, right? Like at some point in time, leverage is applicable. Leverage could be through systems. It could be through other headcount, right? Whatever the case may be. But a lot of times what I see is business owners get to that point of growth. And then they're like, holy crap, it's overwhelming now. I've scaled so fast that I chase the business, which is what's necessary to get going. But you got to, like, I tell business owners, it's like, there's no ideal time to say, like, at this point, you need to build a system. At this point, you need to hire leverage. It's just, you just got to figure it out, right, is what I try to tell people. And so most business owners, I mean, I'm guilty as charged. Like most business owners will pursue the revenue faster than they pursue the systems of support, right, and the leverage piece, and then they end up having to like turn away clients, or they get burned out, whatever the case is, right? So that's kind of why I would ask you, right, is what's been your experience as you've built systems and as you've implemented or project to implement leverage into your business, and what does that look like?
Yeah, so I have tried a lot of different things, and I kind of started. I had what a lot of people call the shiny object syndrome.
Yeah,
I see someone on YouTube. They talk about a particular product or service they're using, and I'm like, oh, I want that, and so I go out and buy it, and man, unfortunately, a lot of these things are they're good for some people and they're not good for others. And you really got to find the best system that works for you. And so that's I did waste a lot of money in the first few months trying to kind of get everything straightened out and organized and things like that. But for the most part,
those darn sales guys on the other end are good.
Oh yeah, they're very good.
I got a room of like 9 of them out there right now working the phone. So
oh yeah,
that's funny. All right, hey, what's one thing you do today that most people in your industry are not doing?
That's a good question. So I don't know most people in the industry. So unfortunately, I don't really know all of what they do, but I know what I hear a lot from my clients is communication with bookkeepers and accountants in general is just terrible. It's just absolutely terrible. Just about every single one of my clients that I have right now have all told me something similar to the effect of they can't get a hold of their, they couldn't get a hold of their bookkeeper. They couldn't get a hold of their accountant. They call, leave messages, never get calls back. They send emails and they never get return emails. And I, for the life of me, coming from the corporate world, I don't know, I guess this might be a bit of an advantage. Like, you don't have the luxury of not returning emails, because if you don't, you got 4 or 5 other people asking you, why didn't you respond?
Accountability. Yeah.
Yeah. And so for me, I've never had a problem with communication. If anything, I probably over communicate. And so I promise to all of them, I put it in my contracts that if you, or for all of my clients, that I guarantee a 24-hour response, 24 business hour response time to any inquiries. And so, there's no issue that's with bookkeeping. There's usually no issue that needs to immediately be addressed. Yeah. But for the most part, here's the thing I think about, and this is something that I think a lot of people, maybe a lot of your viewers can resonate with. Your business is, for most business owners, your business is a part of your life that is so important that you can literally lose sleep over it. And if there's something that's on your mind, right, that you've asked me a question, for example, like, hey, I need to understand this, I'll give a brief example. I had a client who, he sold a truck, and that truck unfortunately was underwater. And so he actually had to pay the dealership to get to take the truck off his hands. And when we recorded that, we actually have to show the difference as a gain on sale, basically meaning that, and the reason why is because he had already written off all of the, interest on it. I don't want to too much jargon at you, but basically, he had already written off all the interest. And so he had depreciated it down to 0. And so technically speaking, he actually sold the truck, and he has to take a gain on that, which means that he's going to have to pay taxes on that. And that was something that he was really upset about, and, so, well, unfortunately that's the IRS you want to talk about. but those are the kinds of things that, a lot of business owners lose sleep over. And I want to make sure that I'm there to answer any questions, and I don't want to be, just another person that doesn't respond, or just another guy that does, that you pay to do a job that, doesn't ever get back to you. So.
Yeah, absolutely. What is kind of your avatar from a client perspective? Who's an ideal client for you?
Sure. Yeah. So I work with clients of all types, whether retail or, whether you're, blue collar. Most of the clients that I prefer to work with are blue collar, and that's just because I come from that life. And so I know the work, and I guess I can speak the language for the most part. And so, but I typically work with business owner, any small business owners of all types. I would prefer to work with people in the blue collar space, though. So,
like home services type places.
Yeah, home services. Yeah, plumbers, HVAC. Roofers. And any general contractors. I actually have a few general contractors. Landscapers. Anybody that gets their hands dirty. I'd like to partner with you.
Yeah, I love that. I've got a lot of those clients myself, so we probably could have some connections in that space for you for sure. So,
awesome.
I would say, what gives you the most leverage today? For example, people, AI, systems. What is your leverage source today?
Man, if I didn't have Claude, I don't know where I'd be. AI has been just, I mean, I can't even explain how beneficial AI has been in growing this business. Things that would take me hours take Claude 10 minutes. I designed, I knew nothing about, as I mentioned, like I was in the corporate world. I knew nothing about CRMs, any of that stuff, landing pages, none of that. I didn't know any of that stuff. And being able to learn all of that in just a few days, because, AI is just that good, that's been super beneficial. And And also too, like it's not just the AI in building the business, but also the accounting software too. Like for example, I use QuickBooks for the most part. I have one client that uses Xero. I don't prefer Xero. I prefer QuickBooks over Xero.
Sure.
But I mean, the enhancements that they've done and the tools they've added, the AI tools they've added, they just make life so much easier and so much, it makes obviously the process so much faster. So, I'm able to help more clients in fewer hours, basically. And so it's very beneficial.
Yeah, it's huge because it's just helped streamline the efficiencies, more clients, more data, but quicker results, just the whole 9 yards, right? Not only just the increased learning curve and the ability to produce landing pages and social media posts, and everything it can do, just the efficiencies. And it's really been cool, like you said, to watch some of the third-party softwares integrated into their already expertise, whatever tool it is, right? Whether it's accounting software or, CAD drawing systems, whatever, like all of these people are adding AI, and now you're really getting specialty outputs, right? Based on that industry or that service or that software. So really cool stuff. Because again, if I go into a, QuickBooks and I'm not that familiar with it, the outputs I'm going to get are not as great as the outputs you would get, because clearly that's your background in your industry. You know how to prompt it better than I would, right?
Of course. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And and so absolutely 100%.
Yeah, very cool. Well, I would say what kind of gives you the least leverage that people spend too much time on right now?
Spend too much time. So, I mean, a lot of my time is kind of, I don't want to say it's not wasted. Anytime you're building a business, your time's not wasted. But a lot of times you can kind of get into the weeds on trying to get too hyper focused on building systems. And that's where a lot of my time suck has kind of come in the last, I'd say at least last month or so, is even though AI has been super beneficial in creating easier systems, the amount of time it takes to really nail down a system that actually works for you is, it can be daunting. And so, unfortunately that has taken a lot of my time. And so I'm hoping that there's light at the end of the tunnel in the next few months, but
right. Well, let's say just gonna throw something else out there, because we all learn through failing moments, right? So what's kind of a lesson throughout your career, or specifically in this industry, over the last 6 to 12 months that you've learned the hard way, and how did you overcome that, and what did you do?
Pray about everything. I'm a man of faith, so I believe, that God is with me in this business. And there's been times that I pulled the trigger on things that I didn't really give a whole lot of thought to, and I certainly didn't get a whole lot of prayer to, and it didn't work out for me. And, I'd say you could save yourself a lot of heartache and a lot of money by not allowing yourself to get, not allowing yourself to get too pressured into purchasing something right away. Give yourself that time to really think about what does this business really need? What are some, and what alternatives are on the market that might actually be a better fit for my business? Do I need the most expensive CRM? Do I need a $300 a month CRM? No, I made that mistake.
Yeah, right. I know, right. Oh gosh, I've been through so many different CRMs between either the company I'm at today or at being a real estate agent for 13 years. But I'm kind of the same path you were. Like, I did a Fortune 500 company for like 19 years, and then I was in the military for the Air National Guard for 20 years. And neither one of those companies use CRM, unless maybe you were in the sales wing, right, of the Fortune 500 company. However, none of that was familiar to me. The government certainly needs a CRM. So with that being said, right, I had to jump into real estate with like, holy cow, that's a lot to absorb and chew on. But that was 15, 18 years ago. So the landscape looked a little different back then. But I think now, like you said, with I was going to bring up that's another benefit of what AI is doing, right? Specifically Claude or Chat GPT. Now, it doesn't just, back 13, 15 years ago, you were just at the mercy of what others were doing and what they were saying on our CRM, right? It was like, hey, my mentor says it's a good CRM. That's probably the best best unbiased input I'm going to get, so I'm going to use it. Now you can use ChatGPT and Claude to battle against each other and say, hey, thinking about my business at this level, I need to grow it to this level. I have this many customers. I want to grow to this many people. What CRM do I use? You know what I mean? So now you've almost got your own mini superpower, right? That is giving you that guidance that so many business owners, I would say that was one of the biggest linkages I missed over that, say, call it 13 to 10 years ago, right? Or even 9-8 years ago, before all of this stuff really started to blow up, was like, you didn't really have a place to go. You could only go to other business owners that were at a similar level of what you were, right? Yeah. And so you would have bigger business owners running a much larger revenue, but you couldn't take advice from them because your business wasn't at that level, right? Like, I'm not going to go spend 13 grand a month on a CRM if I'm $1 million revenue versus them being $22 million, right? It was just apples and oranges. And so you always had to try to find somebody that was like in your space, just slightly above where you're at. So it kind of connected. Now you just go into ChatGPT or Cloud and be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what do I need this thing to do? And if the answer is I only need to do A, B, and C, it's like, okay, well then I don't need, D through Z. So, if it, I find the one that gives you A, B, and C. So, yeah,
absolutely. So what trend are you paying attention to right now?
So you asked me earlier who my client avatar was, and, I mentioned blue collar. Obviously I want to work with blue collar. A lot of discussion has been on AI, and as a lot of people can probably see right now, AI is completely revolutionizing the tech space. And the one area I'd say, there's probably more areas than that, but the one area that I know for sure that AI is not going to automate is going to be your plumbers, your HVAC technicians, your roofers. And so I anticipate there's going to be an influx of new small businesses in the blue collar space, and for a variety of reasons, actually, because the more and more younger people are starting to look into the trades as being a viable alternative than going to college. On top of that, AI is making it super, super easy to learn how to start and scale a business. And so the easier these things become, the more likely people are going to enter into these spaces. And the more people enter in these spaces, the more they're going to need a bookkeeper. So that's why I'm focused on.
That's super smart, because I kind of said that all along. It's like a couple of my clients, and one of my good friends is a client. He's a painter right out of Alabama. And like, that's just, nobody's going to replace a person carrying a paintbrush. It's just not yet. Maybe a robot's down the road, but
maybe he would, maybe years down the road, but Yeah,
absolutely. So love that concept. All right, I want to do like a lightning round here to kind of wrap us up here. So I'm going to throw short questions at you and give me your quickest answer on them. Favorite business book?
Ooh, favorite business book. Actually, this one right here, I have it on my desk. It's called Profit First.
Oh, my favorite. Dan Michalowski or whatever it is.
This book. Yeah, Michael Michalowicz, I think
Michalowski or something. Yep.
Yeah. Now this book is amazing. I know it's lightning round, so I don't want to get too much on it. But basically, if you're a business owner, you need to read this book. This is the best advice that I think anyone's ever given me or any small business that's looking to scale a business. Separating your finances into separate buckets so that you can enhance your visibility to what's going on in your finances. That's the number one thing that you should be doing. So absolutely read Profit First. It's a great book.
Yeah, my man. That's how I grew my business to real estate, not a big number, but it's a couple $1 million. And it's because after 5 or 6 years, I'm like, we've got to run a profit first model, because real estate agents are notorious for not running a profit. And so,
it's just so easy to miss, not just profit, but I see guys overdraw their accounts all the time because they don't know what's in their accounts, and they think they got money in there when in reality it's already accounted for. It just hasn't been debited yet.
And it's so simple. You just put percentages that are intelligent, and you open up different bank accounts, and you just divide the money every month, just like the old Grammy and Pappy used to do with the envelope system.
Yep, exactly. Absolutely.
All right. Let's go with best purchase under $100.
Best purchase under $100. Oh my gosh. So when I first got started with this business, I didn't really know pretty much there was a lot I didn't know in terms of like, how am I going to provide these services? And so the best purchase, I guess, was actually a free purchase. It was actually in QuickBooks Online. It was completely free for me to set up an account and user account, and that's the reason why this business exists. So I think that would be the best purchase, because I wouldn't have this business if I didn't first learn QuickBooks, and if they didn't offer that, if that was an expensive product, if it was going to cost me $1,000, I probably never would have gotten into this business. So the fact that they make it free,
cool. That's very cool. I think I know the answer to this one, but favorite AI tool.
I've gone through a few of them. So ChatGPT was really, really helpful for a good while, especially when I was still learning, all the different, there's different ways that, bookkeeping can be done. There's different kinds, like when it comes to like cash, accrual, et cetera. But Claude is by far head and shoulders above the rest, in my opinion, at least the ones that I tried. So
awesome. Love it. All right. What app do you open the most on your phone?
On my phone, probably. Well, I want to say the Bible app. I'd want to say that. I don't know if that's true or not. It's probably Facebook, but either Facebook or YouTube.
Biggest business mistake.
I spent $5,000 on a mentorship that just was not. It was not right for me. It was for people probably, way more, I say advanced, in their business, way more further along in their business than me. And I was sucked into, it's perfect for you. And no, it was not. It was not perfect for me at
all. What is your, what's something you would never delegate?
So I would never delegate any communication with my clients. That's something that I will own 100% of all the time. No matter how big this business gets and how many bookkeepers I might hire to do the actual work for me, I'm always going to maintain the client relationship 100%.
Love that. Love that. All right. Well, that concludes our episode today. I want to give Justin a chance to kind of tell people how they can get a hold of you. What's one way if they're interested in hearing about your services? Tell them how they can get a hold of you. And then obviously we'll be putting some of that out on the episode as well.
Absolutely. Yep. So I'm typically on Facebook and LinkedIn all the time. So you can reach out to me on LinkedIn and Facebook. I'm in the process of starting a YouTube channel. So hopefully that will come out pretty soon. That'd be nice. But yeah, and you can call me, email me. So it's the Blue-Collar Bookkeeper. That's the name of the company. And please feel free. Yeah, absolutely. I'm always available. So send me an email. I'll get back to you within 24 hours.
Awesome. All right. Thanks so much, Justin. I appreciate you. And we'll wrap up today's episode. And then, man, everybody, I appreciate you coming to the episode today. And thanks, Justin, for taking your time and meeting with us today.
Thanks so much, Mike. Appreciate it.